It's late spring now, and the magical sun brings my neighbor's sunflower pasture into full bloom. Love is blind, and there's someone out there for everyone. Even those of us with leeches stuck to our feet can get some attention in the spring. It's a time for claiming territories, calling for a mate, and pushing our tribes and generations forward. We like what we like, and if we're lucky, we find a partner that likes it too. This big machine I call my farm is ramping up to full speed now. The farm ponds are being cleared and repaired, and the soil prepped. The mud is dried out over the winter, then is conditioned for the type of fry that will be grown in each specific pond. This soil in a large part determines my success or my failure. Some critters have made use of the land between last year's harvest and now. They'll have to be evicted. It's time to raise koi here. Over the next few weeks, the ponds are slowly filled. A black rat snake stops by to check out the progress, then slips back off into the grass. The blackberries ripen, and my kids walk around the farm with blue lips for about 3 weeks. The koi are active, curious, and always looking for a treat. This black mass is bird netting I've stitched together over the last few days. Each spring, the netting on a few of my ponds has to be replaced. Unfortunately, once in a while, larger snakes get tangled in the netting intended to keep birds out. This water snake is being relatively calm while I clip it free. Whoops, I spoke too soon. Now it has its teeth caught in the netting. This will give us a chance to get a closer look. We can see the rows of little razors angled back for gripping its prey. These snakes strike very fast and they're hard to predict. They're critical to the ecosystem here, and I release them when they get trapped like this. Here's where I got a little careless. This one got me good. The bite was cleaned and doused with alcohol. The snake was set free. The mating calls are answered, and the next generation is created. This is a pond full of males, ready to do what Mother Nature is urging them to do. I begin pulling up my breeding pairs. This male Showa is from Takeda of Yamataki Koi Farm in Shizuoka Prefecture. And this female is from Takeda in the Hiroshima area. This Becca was one of the best I've ever seen. I've owned her for 10 years. This male and female Showa have spent many years together, but this is the first time they've seen each other in 3 years. It seems obvious they know each other well and are catching up. Both of these Showas are old fish, 12 to 16 years old. The other male was born in 1997. Notice the way the older male has positioned himself with the female. He would prefer to be alone with her. The other male is pushed away. Over the next few days, other parent koi are pulled up for breeding. And the new fry begin hatching. These are Sanke fry at 2 days old. We can see their swim bladders well at this age. Our koi world is filled with fascinating people, many eccentric, all interesting in their own ways. This client called me and said, "Brady, I want this many koi and I want to pay this much for them. I'll send my guys to the Monroe Airport to pick them up." The koi were packed, a private jet arrives.
All right, we'll see you.
The koi were put in the cab of the plane and they were off as quickly as they landed. These koi are going to a private collector for his family's personal enjoyment. They'll never be shown and the collector isn't active in any koi club. There are a lot of koi collectors like this who prefer to enjoy the hobby privately. We go back to the farm and gather some treats for the koi. On rainy days, earthworms are plentiful, a perfect food. The black widow spider is one insect we watch out for when we're turning over cement blocks, rocks, or sifting through stored PVC pipes. The bite can be nasty. This anole enjoys the warm sun in its half-shedded skin coat. And a tree frog finds a choice spot in a holding tank. The fry continue hatching. These are only a few hours old. Too young to be bothered with the Daphnia swimming around them. Tomorrow's another day, though. These are 3-day-old kohaku fry for my pairing number 2. And these are kohaku fry that are 11 days older for my pairing number 1. We can see the huge jump they've gotten in just a few days. The farm is running full speed now. All the ponds are filled. In a few days, kohaku group number 2 are looking like group number 1 did. This season it's kohaku, sanke, showa, chagoi, kujaku, and a kiyitsuri group. These are sanke fry. Having a successful hatch is only the first hurdle. There are predators all up and down the food chain. This water snake isn't a concern now. but will be when the fry get larger. This one is not concerned with me. I guess he heard that his cousin kicked my butt earlier. This young bullfrog is also a threat to my baby koi, but maybe the water snake will get him before he has a chance to eat too many koi. The insects are trying to feed their faces too. This fry swims dangerously close. This one's too busy digging in the mud to care about the fry swimming around carelessly behind it. This fry did get too close, and dinner is served. The chances are about 1 in 100,000 that this fry is the very best of the spawn. Thousands will be picked off like this throughout the summer. This one's being a little rough on one of its siblings. There's a lot of activity going on below the surface here. The plant world also has a stake. This algae is dangerous too. It grows outward in the form of living netting and forms tubes of netting like this. If a fry swims up into this tube, it'll get stuck here and it'll die and be consumed. This algae is only a danger to the smaller fry. Larger fry are strong enough to break through the netting. Here's a closer look. Does this remind you of the little green nets at the aquarium store? This is another example of how critical timing is with farming. My goal is to get the fry in the pond and up to size before this algae grows and becomes a danger. Here, this algae seems to prefer my ponds that have been prepped for showas and sankes. It likes the same pH and nutrient mix. Earlier I was asked to help move a client's koi to her new home. Come along and check out the ponds. This koi keeper originally moved about 80 miles from Charlotte, North Carolina to Burlington. She was building a new house. Her house in Charlotte sold quickly, and she was left with nowhere to keep her koi while the new house was being built. Luckily, her daughter wanted a koi pond now too, so this new pond was built at her daughter's house, and the koi were moved here temporarily, until the new house and new koi pond were completed. Today, we're moving these koi to their newly finished pond, which is just a few miles up the road. The pond builder who built this pond also built the new pond. He does excellent rock work, and his ponds look solid and natural, like they belong there. Filtration tends to be very basic, though. The pH was compared between the two ponds. This pond was showing a pH reading of 7.6, and the new pond water was 8.6. I wanted to see the two pH readings closer. So I added baking soda to this pond to slowly bring the pH up before the fish were moved. I don't normally like to use baking soda to adjust pH. The changes up and down can be too drastic. But in this case, all of the koi were being moved from this pond, so the pH dropping back down or fluctuating in this pond was not an issue. This is the new pond. Let's look around some. The skimming is handled by a Savio unit. We can see the flow rate is pretty high. This water is being pumped from here with a high volume submersible pump to the waterfall. Water is also being gravity fed through bottom drains to the filter system behind the waterfall. This is the same basic filtration setup on the other pond the koi are coming from. The boulders add a nice touch, and the pond's location close to the back of the house is ideal. The pond owner checks on her babies as they wait to be released. Notice the views from the house to the pond. Here's the filter area. This pond has been filled and running for a month without any koi. The pond's pH, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate readings should be checked daily over the next 2 weeks, now that the koi have arrived.
Don't have as many dead soldiers, or if you have any. Go, baby, explore, explore. Sorry, I'm in mud.
How are you gonna open it up? Oh, I was like, you have to go in the back. Where's in the back? I know.
Back at the farm, the weather is showing its power and influence. Nasty thunderstorms are common here in North Carolina in the hot days of summer. The conditions after a thunderstorm can wreak havoc on mud ponds, causing major shifts in oxygen levels and in pH. This takes a toll on fragile koi fry. These kohaku fry are about 30 days old now. There are a lot of challenges on the journey from spring to fall. Adjustments are being made daily throughout the summer, compensating, predicting, and heading off disasters. The older females feel the effects of the storm also. And position themselves near the air supply for the next 24 hours. I spend the next 24 hours worrying and thinking. This female Showa is very old, like I said, and she doesn't handle breeding well anymore. Over the last 2 years, she has shown severe bruising after spawning, and it takes her the rest of the summer to recover. I'll pull her up and give her a salt bath for good measure. The ratio I'm using is 4 cups of solar salt or rock salt to 10 US gallons of pond water. I'll leave her in for about 30 to 45 seconds. As summer comes on strong, koi tubs become party boats. Nights are warm, and the moon, fireflies, and fireworks light up the sky.